Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original presented by Prize Picks. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. It is Foxworth Friday on Thursday. Domonique Foxworth, what's going on?
Not much, man. Get ready for this draft.
Draft day, worst day of the year for us recording content, right? You can't record nothing on Thursday because everything that's happening is on Thursday night, except you got your regular job on Thursday night, so you be doing that stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Detroit at the time of this.
You're actually going to the draft?
Yep, I'm going out there doing a live show, doing all types of stuff. It's not too bad, though, because my cousin, I mentioned before, my cousin lives out there, so I get a chance to go see him. It should be a good time to draft. Well, it's not fair comparing it to Vegas, but last year the draft was cool. It was in Vegas.
That's what I was about to say. It's one thing that you taking the draft to Vegas and you showing up, bro. Now they taking the draft to Detroit City. Like I ain't got no problems with Detroit. I just don't feel like I want to go to the draft there.
Yeah, it was. I've been out there. I went out there because I stopped there on my way to the Hall of Fame celebration for John Lynch a few years ago, and I was like, "Yeah, this is nice. Detroit is cool." But I mean, yeah, if I was a first round pick and I walk across the stage, it'd be nice to go from there to Dre's or from there to one of these here casinos. It's a little different. You go to Mom's Spaghetti. I don't know what else y'all got popping in Detroit, but one of them sad ass casinos.
I mean, I guess video puts you up on game or whatever the spot is. Like I look at the draft, it actually got me thinking about the Grant Hill announced all the dudes that were on Team USA. Yeah. And he said that nobody said no to Team USA. And I'm like, no, nobody said no. That shit in Paris this year, dog. Right? This ain't no different than any other sort of convention. Yeah. Right? Like you put NABJ in Vegas, we out there. You put NABJ in St. Louis, we thinking about it.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that's New Orleans. I'm gonna be there. It's in Chicago this year. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there in Chi-Town. Yeah, when it was in DC, I was here, and I still really ain't do nothing.
Yeah, I'm at the point of my career where I might show up, but let me tell you what, I ain't worried about doing. No damn registration. I would just come, show up somewhere, and roll out completely on my own time. It's a whole new time and situation these days.
Yeah, I ain't been. I haven't been to the last couple NABJs, so I'm looking forward to this one. Get up in there. I haven't had my own show before, so like I'm really looking forward to making some new relationships, getting some new guests for my show, all that sort of stuff. It's a whole different experience there.
I see that. I don't know if I'm even be in the United States when that go down. But I'll be maybe in a United State, but not not that one. Like I feel like I might be doing something wrong if I wind up there. But NFL Draft 2024, Detroit City, it is coming. We are giving you guys a draft preview of sorts. That's what we try to do for you since we can't give you, honestly, what the hell will we talk about after the draft? At least on this show, it just be a bunch of stuff I honestly don't care about.
Clothes. I mean, there's people's outfits, like the girlfriend getting the phone snatched. So like some antics gonna happen worth talking about at the draft.
We gonna have a white dude that ain't never met a black person before. Remember when that happened?
Yeah,
when Zach Wilson was out there and it looked like he had never met a black person before.
He was looking over at the people like, "Oh, this what we do."
No, and look, man, and I gotta be careful, man. Ain't nobody more sensitive than Utah, bro. Last week I was talking about, and I thought that this is a fair question, right? They moving a hockey team to Utah, and I'm asking whether that metropolitan area is robust enough to support 2 wintertime sports. Like if you go look at what the cities are that have 2 wintertime sports, that have basketball and they have hockey, the smallest of those metro areas is Denver, and that metro area is about twice the size of what they talk about. So I'm just like, it seems kind of absurd to try to have 2 teams in that town, right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, they was mad.
They came to let me know. They mad. Somebody told me math isn't hard. And I'm like, what the fuck are you counting? Because you can't be counting people, right? But they like that. I remember I said something once about Alex Smith, and I had to block thousands of them. I'm not exaggerating. Thousands of them. That whole part of the world.
Maybe I don't have that type of civic pride, but I guess obviously I don't. But I'm never offended by somebody saying something about. I mean, I guess there are certain things you could say about places that I'm affiliated with that would upset me. Saying like, I don't know if you can financially support 2 winter sports. Like, I ain't coming to Twitter like, okay.
Right.
I ain't coming to Twitter with that. Hey, you watch your mouth. We got lots of money. We could go spend our money on all types of tickets.
Dog, they so defensive. Although I will say this to be fair to Utah, okay? If at any point in my life, if I hadn't seen it already happen for nearly 50 years, if at any point in my life somebody had come to me and been like, we go move a basketball team to Salt Lake City, I would scoff at the notion. Instead, they have kept that thing afloat for who knows how long. I tell you this, though, the people that own the Jazz, I know they not happy to hear about this. I know they shaking in their boots. They like, Jolene just showed up, right? Jolene just rolled up, you know. Jolene looked like what you think they really like. I don't know if they actually like that or not. I have no idea. But a lot of people are assuming that they do. A lot of people are guessing that they do.
That's a real problem. It's like going from a high school to college. Then you're like, oh, it's not just these regular people around here. They got choices. You go to a big state school, they got every flavor there. And now maybe they really like hockey more.
Yes, we gonna find out. But NFL draft, I think we can rest assured at this point, Caleb Williams is going to be the number one overall pick. I have not really talked to you about Caleb Williams. I feel like we have intentionally saved this up because we knew a day like this would come and we would have to, come out with it here. I am all about the talent of Caleb Williams. I also fully acknowledge I worry about 6'1", but I don't know how much 6'1" matters in this case.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair. Nobody's a perfect prospect. We've seen it. We've seen some proof of his ability. The 6'1" thing, attacking the middle field, staying in the pocket. Caleb's found ways around that. I think he's not perfect, but he's about as close as he can get to it. The big plays, those are just special. The arm is just special. And it's like, when you have stuff like that, all right, maybe he's going to miss a couple digs because he can't see, but he can throw it from one hash to the other side of the field, 40 yards downfield on target, with his feet off platform. Like and he moves in the pocket in a way that creates spaces and lanes. So ain't really nothing to be worried about. That's a fair criticism, like the height thing. He can't do nothing about it. But from a prospect standpoint, there really ain't nothing to worry. People say he doesn't want to stay in structure. We'll see if there's a structure there to stay in. I think he's comfortable with it. There wasn't much structure to stay within in his previous offense and previous situation, but I think those big plays, that's the thing is you just need to score points, not on every drive. Don't turn the ball over, but score points on a good number of drives. The fact of the matter is they're going to be a large number of drives that are comprised of him doing something special. And maybe you're gonna have to punt more often because he can't find these guys over the middle field or he's too short. But you know what he also gonna do? You're gonna break off a couple 35, 45-yard passes that maybe three other quarterbacks in football would even have the audacity, let alone the arm strength to be able to try.
All right, now I'm gonna start by pushing back on a couple things. Number one, I was once 6'1", and I pulled myself up by my bootstraps, and I got to 6'3". And so I just don't want to hear from these little dudes that they ain't got no other options, right? And in fact, as crazy as people think it is, when I say I pulled myself up by my bootstraps, there's a dude named John listening to this right now. He don't like the idea that I pulled myself up by my bootstraps, and he did not. And I can't help the fact that he 5'8" and lazy. And I mean, like me personally, I was 5'8". I was trying to do everything I could to not be 5'8" no more. But some of y'all got to 5'8" and you just settled. You got complacent. You may have been 5'8" in 8th grade, right? You thought it was always going to be like that, right? Now you be running up on me and I be hitting you right here with this one right there. I be holding you by your forehead and you be swinging underneath and you can't get here. But number two, in all sincerity, as crazy as you may think what I said was, that boy Drew Brees turned himself into a giraffe. You remember that? Drew Brees' neck wasn't always that long. Drew Brees back there standing on his tippy toes, craning that thing up as far as he could. He became, as far as I could tell, a whole different person. So I think Caleb Williams can start working on that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, when I was a kid, Come Fly With Me, like I feel like everybody had that tape. It was the Michael Jordan thing. And I watched it a ton of times, just like most of us, I think, before we had all the options of streaming. And this stands out when you said that. he was by far the tallest person in his family. And I remember that Come Fly With Me, he said a similar thing, that he saw an episode of the Brady Bunch where one of them Brady kids like hung from some playground set and stretched themselves out. He said he did that. He's 6'6". Ain't nobody else in his family anywhere close to that. So I don't know. You talk about willpower. It's just
that boy had that want to. Boy got that dog in him, right? That's all I'm saying. In fact, it's kind of ironic because I would say all these little fellas clearly ain't got no dog in them. But oh my God, do they ever have lots of dog in them? They be yipping and arfing all over the place, trying to make sure somebody know. They be biting on you, all kinds of stuff, these little dudes.
I don't think Caleb's going to have that problem. So maybe he's not going, he might be uncomfortable in a room with Josh Allen, maybe, but I think he's shown enough that he don't need to stretch himself out. But go ahead, by all means, knock yourself out, Caleb. Just don't mess up that arm.
You think Chicago ready for a quarterback that paint his fingernails and his toenails? You think they ready?
The fact of the matter is, the cool people make whack shit cool all the time. And you know what's cool? Them passes that Caleb was throwing in college. If he do that in the NFL, all these hand in the dirt, blue collar, tough guy, Chicago people that we hear now, they're going to be painting their fingernails pink immediately. There will be nothing stopping them from getting on that bandwagon as long as them touchdowns are showing up.
I wish Dick Buckus was still alive to see it, boy. I would love nothing more than the first time Dick Buckus shook his hand. It was like, huh, look at that.
Where Mike Dick at?
Oh, man, Mike Dick can go come up there, and I know exactly what word is being used as soon as that boy turns around. You ever hear the Muhammad Ali story about the first time he met the Beatles? I can't tell the story on here, unfortunately. It involves a word that we can't even think about using no more. He meant no harm. However, let's just say that Muhammad Ali was unaware of who the Beatles were, and he had a question about who they were, and he used the epithet that we don't do that no more. They don't even do it in rap no more. They used to do it all the time.
Oh yeah, I feel like the baby got in trouble if I'm catching your drift. Yeah.
Yes.
Trouble for getting too close to that one.
Slurs with 2 G's, man. They the ones that like you can't get away with. Though facetiously, you can sneak in jigaboo. Facetiously. Like you can tell a story if somebody else said jigaboo, you can say it too. Like when Elle told that story about how that softball coach told her that they was going to shut down the jive talking and jigaboo. You can say it if you talk about somebody else, talk about jigaboo. You can't call nobody no jigaboo. Them other 2 double G ones, you can't like use that at all.
I mean, I don't think I've heard jigaboo used outside of somebody trying to be funny. Like, is that actually an insult that people? I know.
Elle heard that woman say there ain't gonna be no more jive talking and jigabooing.
Was she in a time machine? Like, what are we doing here? This was in the 2000s.
Right. Like you're right about that. That is one of those slurs that is kind of like I always say about left hand dap. Left hand dap is disrespect, but no one has ever disrespectfully offered you left hand dap, but you know that it's disrespect. Maybe there's a ring of slurs that is like, okay, are those just slurs you just use when nobody's around, right? Like maybe they be calling us jigaboos all the time and we just not there to know about whether it's modern, outdated, all that stuff. We just not around.
Yeah, that's deep in the crates. That mean that your first 5 choices are off the board to keep it in the spirit of the draft. Is like, that jigaboo is sliding down the racist draft chart fast if you pull that one out.
Or you drafted like Bill Belichick and you just had your eye on this one, right? Like nobody's taking it first, but you done synced it. By the way, shout out to you, Bill Belichick, for humbling yourself to doing the Pat McAfee draft special.
Oh, gosh, they paying good, I guess. I guess the story about Bill Belichick not getting a job, like it wasn't it's shocking, like some of the headlines that came out of it, but once you read the story, it's not surprising. Like it makes sense why people would want to be around him. Why he wants to be, or why this is the type of media that he wants to be a part of is a lot more surprising, because I'm certainly interested in what Bill Belichick has to say. I imagine that if he wanted to be on the ESPN broadcast or the NFL Network broadcast, like he could have been on any broadcast he wanted to be on, I would think, because it seems interesting.
What if he's just never seen the show before?
Yeah.
All right, let's keep this in mind, man. That man ain't got nothing to do.
Right.
He has no idea. He has no idea what to do with himself. No, I can't. Look, I knew he wasn't going to get no job. I'd been here saying for the longest. I don't think he's ever going to coach again. Look, Don Shula didn't coach again after that. Tom Landry didn't coach again after that. We can go up and down the list, man. At his age, I don't think anybody is going to hire him. And what the real thing is, ain't nobody going to believe him when he walk in there and be like, yeah, I'll be cool with just being another guy on the payroll. Come on, man. Hey, that's what you say to get a job. And everybody know what it sounds like when somebody just say something to get a job. But he going to be up there with McAfee and them other dudes. And I just don't think he ever thought it was going to be that. Like every now and then you have moments where you done something. Look, I done been in some of these places in the last year or two where after you done been certain places and then they have you go do something else. And you just kind of like, hey man, I don't like y'all. This is what y'all think of me, huh? You think I'm one of these boys, huh?
That's what I mean, that's why I assumed this was a choice. Like, I don't think that while I could understand why no one would hire him to be the head coach, and maybe there's territory about people not wanting him on the set for taking their spot. But I can't imagine that there's not a production out there that's doing draft stuff that wouldn't want to have the greatest coach of all time available. Like, I don't think that he views this, maybe other people view this as like some step down. Like, this where he want to be, I would think, for whatever reason. I don't know if it's money or if it's relationships or whatever, but you think if ESPN said come on this set, or maybe they don't want to pay or whatever, I don't know. I assume that, because I would be interested in what Bill Belichick had to say during the draft.
Or maybe Bill Belichick is like, I don't want to have to go to Detroit.
Yeah.
Right?
That's possible.
And they're like, well, look, if you ain't going to Detroit, this is what we got. Like this, or is McAfee? I have no idea. I saw that and I was just like, who knows, man? Maybe that's his room and we got no idea, right? Because that Bill Belichick that we've been getting is not the real Bill Belichick. We know that. Yeah. That is not like who he actually is as a person. But stick with this NFL draft thing. I've talked about J.J. McCarthy. Mina and I talked on here about J.J. McCarthy. I've heard some of the things that you've had to say about J.J. McCarthy. And I'll let you go first.
I don't really get it, but I learned my lesson is, I think, the best way I can evaluate J.J. McCarthy, because it doesn't strike me when you watch him play. I think I made a bunch of assumptions about him based on him climbing in the draft like this. And then I went back and took a look and my assumptions were wrong. It's like, it does seem like he consistently reads the defense well. That was one assumption that I wasn't wrong about. But I would have thought also that he was like consistently accurate, which that's not true. Like, it felt like the way he was rising was he was like a safe guy pick. It's like, we don't know what his ceiling is, but we know that he gonna operate within the structure and he not gonna make no mistakes and he gonna throw it to the right spot every time. It's gonna be perfectly accurate, but we're not sure what his ceiling is. That wasn't what I saw. I saw somebody who struggled with accuracy at times and did come through in some big moments, but also was never the man, which is, it's a weird way to evaluate it, but maybe he can grow into that. But I want somebody, even the criticism that we had about Josh Allen, which were fair at the time, but at least he was the man there. He wasn't that good, but he was the man. We knew who the guy was, And that's the thing about McCarthy, that it's like, we ain't really seen you be the man, where they was like, we need everything to go through this guy.
I tell you this, I'm going to do this for everybody listening. Domonique assumed that man was rising, that he must have been good at them reads, that he must have been accurate. What you trying to say, Domonique? You know what I'm saying? Like it sounded to me like what you was really saying is, I spy a man who just got off a boat that came down that Caucasus River.
I would. The problem is, I have no problem pointing that out if I thought that was the case. I'm also watching Drake May slide down the board. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know what's up and down. That man, 250 pounds, 6'5", with a cannon. I ain't never seen a white man like that go down the draft board.
I'm just telling you, the second that somebody take Jayden Daniels over Drake May is the second that Drake May Sr. or whatever his daddy's name is put that Trump sign in the front yard. We losing the country, bro. Like that's if that ain't we losing the country, bro, I don't know what is. Big, strong white dude just falling.
I know that you follow a lot of this stuff. I don't know how much of it that you are reading and watching, but all the people who you expect to go the opposite way. I was just on TV with Mike Tannenbaum, and Michael Tannenbaum was like, oh no, clearly I want Jayden Daniels over Drake May. And I'm sitting up there on the Zoom screen trying to hold it together like, what? They got you too? Like Dan Orlovsky, who I had many of fights about Carson Wentz versus Dak Prescott. And I was like, come on, man. That's where my affection for Dak Prescott started, because I was listening to him say that Carson Wentz was better than him. He said Jayden Daniels. Chris Sims was like, he is the guy. He's the tall, white, perfectly built, statuesque quarterback.
Yes.
He said Jayden Daniels. Everybody's saying Jayden Daniels, and I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't understand it. I'm not used to it.
I ain't never seen it happen like this before. Yeah, we saw people say they want to take Blaine Gabbert over Cam Newton. Like, did racism have its bon voyage party and nobody told us?
I don't know. Maybe it got buried with Jigaboo. I don't know what happened, but we are absolutely in a different place. I don't get it. So that's why the McCarthy stuff is even harder for me to understand while I'm watching what's happening with Drake May.
All right, this is my observation on McCarthy, and it's not really an observation about McCarthy. It's more an observation about the league. And, based on some of the things that Mina had said about like the affection that the Shanahan and McVay guys would probably have for him. You draft Caleb Williams because you're looking for a star. I feel like the person that's going to draft J.J. McCarthy is going to do so, not because they're looking for a star, but because they're looking for a quarterback. And the reason that they not looking for a star is they ain't got to look for no star, baby, because if they want to go look at a star, all they got to do is go look in the mirror. Star right here in that headset, baby. That's who the star of this operation is. That star right here, this iPad with this series of plays. That's the star of the show here. Like, tell me if I'm wrong.
Nah, I think you're right. And I think that's why, I think the Vikings would be a good spot for him, because I think they have Kevin O'Connell is like one of those type of guys. And they also have a team that's prepared, I think, that has a good tackle and a great receiver that could use J.J. McCarthy. And then he'd turn out to be pretty good. But I think you're right. He fits that system, or he fits that mold where he's like, all right, he's going to be a great operator. I'm going to give him a great machine, and he will be like the guy who operates it well.
I feel like they got a great receiver for right now, because if he wasn't that happy with the Kirk Cousins experience, I don't know how Justin Jefferson going to feel about you bringing in this untrained amateur.
Well, I mean, I assume the contract is going to buy them a little bit more time when that shows up of happiness. I don't know, but yeah, you throwing him the ball, he gonna be happy, which
the rookie is going to do.
Absolutely.
You're right about that.
Yeah. I don't need to read nothing. Get it to him.
The rookie coming out here to run that Bel Air Academy offense.
Damn right. I mean, you should. Everybody should. That guy. And I mean, they have Addison also. He's not out there by himself. You got plenty of good players, but JJ is a special type of guy. So throw it to him. Not JJ McCarthy. I'm sorry. Justin Jefferson. Let's be clear.
Okay. Important distinction. Important distinction. All right. But coming up next, we're going to talk about who is Domonique's best player in the draft, and also talk about the oldest man in the world. At least it seems like he is. All the right time. The NBA playoffs have officially begun, and it's the best time to get in on the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with playoff basketball and hockey entries today on Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. And if you stick around for the end of the show, you'll hear picks from our producer Sean that could potentially help you win big. Prize Picks is really simple to play. You can make your picks and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. So make sure you go to prizepicks.com/Bomani and use code Bomani for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/Bomani. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Spring is here, which means there's more daylight and sunshine in our lives. Shout out to our friends at Shady Rays, who have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays offers a world-class product, rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. They have plenty of styles and colors to pick from, so finding your next pair of shades is a breeze. Plus, if your shades go MIA or take a hit, don't sweat it. They've got lost and broken protection, so you're covered from day one. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. If you don't love your shades, exchange or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to ShadyRays.com and use code Bomani for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. All right, Domonique, we're going to get to the best player in the draft in a little bit. I'm going to let you say his name. But before we get there, to me, most interesting quarterback in this draft is Michael Penix. I think he has some similarities to Hendon Hooker last year, which is to say old men with bad Carfax.
Yeah.
Right? Like a lot of dings in the Carfax. We talk about big dings. Like they don't had the chassis. Like, I don't even know what a chassis do. But you know what I mean? Yeah. They don't had to fix some significant things. But that boy can whip it. Whip it, I tell you. Whip it.
Yeah. I think he could end up being one of the steals of the draft if he didn't have the injury history. The thing is, the injuries aren't affecting his play, or at least not significantly. This is projection, because I think what you see out of him in the offense that he operated, the throws that he was able to make, it's the guy in the system that you want that also has this high-end deep ball ability and this high-end improvised ability. I think he goes a lot higher. If it's not for the injury history, he could mess around and end up, he's going to slide down the draft because of these injury things, which means he could end up on a more talented team. He could mess around and be the guy who makes the big splash, because watching him throw, there's 3, 4 maybe people that are currently in NFL that have arms that I think are more impressive than his, or at least on the same level as his. He's got that type of arm talent that people should be excited about him. And it's not like arm talent where he's like a fool. Obviously, we watched him play a lot of games. Like, he understands how offense works, and it's not him just throwing deep passes. So yeah, he could turn out to be a pretty special player depending on where he lands.
All right, so I'm looking late in the first round, right? Let's just throw that out there as an option, because you threw the possibility he could wind up with a more talented team. Okay, let us imagine a world in which, and these are, by the way, these are places that I don't think are crazy to bring up.
Right.
Tampa Bay at 26. They gave Baker Mayfield some of that good job last year. How about one more year? Basically, what they did to Baker Mayfield was they didn't kick him out of bed.
Yep.
They're like, "Hey, I got some toothbrushes under the sink. You can stick around for a little while, right?" That's what they did with him. But hey, that's an option right there. Mike Evans gonna catch 1,000 yards from here into the hereafter. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
The one that's jumping out to me, and I know it's not gonna happen, but what if Kyle decided to blow everybody's mind and take Michael Penix at number 31, which I have to say would be the smart play?
Yeah. I wouldn't do it because of the progress that I think that they have made with Purdy, but I get your point. Like, it would be a shot worth taking. And
you ready to pay Brock Purdy $50 million a year?
That's I am. Honestly, I am. Like, I get what you're saying, but I would do it if I'm them. I don't. If
but you do it if you were them. But would you do it if you could get somebody who is physically superior? And we with the bad Carfax, we said that Michael Penix is physically superior. And from what I can tell, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, what Purdy does have going for him is the thing that Penix has going for him, which is there's a small period, like a much smaller window between when he sees the throw and he makes the throw than average people. If the throw is there, he's going to make it. Yeah. And so if I got this guy who could do that, or I could pay $50 million to this guy, and I know they're going to pay 50 because that's what everybody does, but.
And this is one of those things that like, I agree with you if we play in a video game, but we ain't. So I wouldn't have the heart. Like I get it. It's easy. I would argue that might be the smart thing to do. But if I was actually in that building, I would not have the heart to take out this centerpiece that's had this success, even though I'm bringing in someone better. I probably wouldn't have drafted Patrick Mahomes if I was Andy Reid. So like, I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying that I can sit up here and lie and act like I'm a big, brave, tough guy if I want to, but I'm going to keep it real with you. I got something good. Oh, hey, I ain't going to mess with it.
How about this? The Steelers at 20. What about them there or maybe trading down, right? They already got Bell and Biv. You might as well get DeVoe. You know what I'm saying? You might as well go bring in Jam Master Jay, complete the set.
Yeah, I feel like we're looking at something different. He becomes the lead singer that is hopefully going to go solo real soon. I don't know if that makes them the Supremes, but yeah, he is not in league with those guys anymore, I don't think. I mean, I've heard the Cowboys as an option because, again, it's about paying $50 million going forward. I don't like that either, but I get the arguments for any of it, but he might mess around and be one of the best quarterbacks in football.
No, I think the one thing I'd say about Penix, though, and you tell me what you think about this, we have seen that man under what one would deem a range of circumstances. We have seen him at Indiana, where it wasn't quite like the Antoine Randall experience at Indiana, but it was still hey, man, all we got is you, right? Like we were jumping on your back. And what he did was break down a couple of times because that's how hard it is to carry Indiana football. And then in that last year at Washington, he was playing for the Monstars.
And it looked like it.
It wasn't even fair.
I think the Giants, I hope he don't end up there. And we got the Vikings at 11. If the Vikings don't trade up, they'd be stupid to let him go past there. Then after that, we're looking at, I know Tannenbaum suggested the Rams, which I would love that as a place for Penix. That'd be great because he'd be with,
I saw that.
Yeah, he'd be with one of them smart guys that understand these things and a young receiver in Puka. And he'll take over for Stafford. And he has Stafford's style arm and probably the same like athleticism at this point, given the injuries and all that. So that might be a good spot for him too.
Hey, Domonique, you brought up the possibility of the Giants. And if the Giants
I know.
Michael Penix,
I know.
It really might be over. Right? If the Giants draft Michael Penix, it really may be. The schism may really be on his last leg. The schism might be in hospice, just trying to be comfortable before it goes. Because the Giants have started a black man at quarterback on purpose one time. And when they started that black man on purpose one time, they fired the man who did it. And they let Eli Manning be sorry for 2 additional years. They set the franchise back 2 years because they were so guilty about letting that black man start. A black man, by the way, who has demonstrated himself to be pretty damn good.
I mean, that's not even to speak about what we saw last year. It's a healthy Tyrod Taylor, but we ride with the Newts, baby.
They did.
Oh, no,
they did go with the trope.
I was mixing them up. DiNucci was the one.
No, DeVito.
DiNucci was in Dallas. Oh, we ride with DeVito, baby.
Yo, I saw at the Super Bowl, I saw DeVito's agent dude walking around looking like what half a spy versus spy. Like he's wearing that stuff all the time.
Oh, man. I can't imagine that I would want that to represent me. Like, come on, man. I'm gonna need you to put on a regular suit or something.
Yo,
what are we doing?
That's what I'm saying. I don't want an agent with a get up. I don't want an agent with a costume. I might hire a lawyer with a get up. I don't know why. That feels different, right? Like, it feels like if you go be that as a lawyer, you've earned your keep. Like, there's this white man in Atlanta with a ponytail. He earned his keep, right? Like, he the white man with the ponytail. You know him when you see him. I don't need y'all to know my agent when he walk in. I want an IYKYK agent.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right about if you're like a trial lawyer, there's something about the showmanship that I think makes me a little bit more comfortable. But if you're an agent, I'm gonna need you to play the background. I don't want nobody to know exactly whether you my agent or you my accountant or you a lawyer or which you just a guy. You a guy in a suit.
I'd like you to move in silence like lasagna. That's what I would like. That's what I would like. But all right,
lime green suits.
All right, I need you to tell the people who you got as the best player in the draft.
It's Marvin Harrison Jr. Make sure we get the junior in there. Make it clear I don't want any offense. That dude to me is clearly a future Hall of Famer, barring any type of issues. There are few receivers that I've seen, including some of the best receivers in football right now. Few receivers I've seen as well-rounded and polished and perfect in every level as Marvin Harrison is. And what he did last year with Kyle McCord, he put up the same numbers that he put up with C.J. Stroud. And you can see C.J. Stroud, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. That dude about to show up. Whoever gets him, if it's the Cardinals, you know what you just did? You just made Kyler a whole lot better. You just made your whole team a whole lot better. So, yeah, it seems obvious to me.
So, a couple thoughts on that, because I had thought Kyler Murray, they would just try to run you out, and now all of a sudden, everything might have got a lot better for you, right? Mm-hmm. There's that thought. Number two, I mean, you and I know this. I don't feel like it's been broadly, like super broadcast, but I don't think I'm talking out of turn in saying this, man. People don't like that dude.
Yeah.
Like, he's not that great at the people stuff. I don't fully understand what it is about the people stuff that he's not great at, but I'm going to just say, that receiver they talk about taking, he sound like, and I could be wrong, right? Because this ain't necessarily about him. It's just about the people around him. Sound like you might want to treat that dude right. You might want to fix your face when you talk to him. Whatever it is that you're doing with these other people that they don't like, you might want to correct that before this cat gets to town. Before him and his folk get down there, you might want to get right.
I ain't even take into consideration the fact that the Cardinals are drafting somebody that's going to get the locker room right. I ain't even like, everybody going to get on the same page. I didn't even take that into account. I just thought he was going to make Kyler better by being an amazing receiver. He is also going to make everyone better because we all been there where there are certain people when they show up, the temperature change. The temperature change. And everybody act a little different. I can sit up here and pretend like I'm big tough guy all I want, and nobody tell me what to do or how to act. But when certain people enter an environment, it changes things. And he, to me, is it quite possible that he and him and his folk, when they show up, people gonna get in line.
So here's the thing I'm gonna ask about the young man. It seems to me, and you tell me if it's an exaggeration, his father was like a 4'3" guy, but his dad was like 6 foot 185. Like, he's in that zone. It appears that the new one is of similar speed, but he's a giant.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And also, he has we've talked about this before. I've never really had a problem with big receivers because big receivers don't have the short area quickness. They can't get away. So I would rather go up against a big receiver than deal with one of these herky-jerky slot dudes. He got it all, man. He running routes. So like when you are, and this happens often, I think, for all sports and frankly, all people, you know how they say like person got a good personality that suggests that they ugly. And you be like, well, they had to develop a good personality, obviously, because of the way they look. It's like Marvin Harrison Jr. grew up ugly because when you 6'5", you know what you don't have to figure out? You don't figure out how to lose people. You go up and you win contested balls. You don't got to run great routes. You don't got to be super fast. If you got all that stuff, you normally don't have to have all that. And that's like Randy. Randy wasn't about to route you up. It's fine. You know what I can do? I can take the top off of this thing. That's going to open everything else up. But Marvin can take the top off of it also he can route you up. It's a lot to deal with, man. And I don't see how it don't work. It don't matter how bad your offense is or your quarterback. Because again, he long. Throw it in his area. He gonna get it. The concentration too. That's another thing. When you see him, there's a number of times where there are balls where he's like bobbling it with someone holding on to his right arm, and he's bobbling it and concentrates and squeeze it and bring it in with his left. Like, this is just absurd level plays, and you normally don't find all those things in one player. And so, like, I like the idea. People talking about Neighbors. He gonna be good too, but why don't y'all stop it? Why don't y'all stop it? There's one man in this draft, guys. There's one.
So what is different now versus the past that you can tell, where it used to be a real crapshoot about receivers coming into the league? Like when you came into the league, it was not a guarantee that a young dope receiver who knew how long it was going to take before they got there. We see guys like Gary Wilson as being a good example, but these guys are jumping in now and they go right away. Like, is it really just that they made it that much easier to play wide receiver because of the rules changes?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's the best argument you could have, is there was a level of physicality in the games before that we've talked about before. There's a complete job in the league is gone now because somebody used to just knock receivers out. That might have been part of it. I think there were fewer passes also. The offenses were a little bit more remedial. I think all those things are factors in it. But as we've moved more to like a passing focused game, we've changed the rules to make it easier on receivers. I think that's one of the things that has made it so that the receivers coming in have, like, I mean, it's hard for those skills not to translate, and they do translate. And the level, even though we don't have a lot of great quarterbacks, I think the level of like the mean is higher than it was in the past. And so even if you end up on a team that got a bad quarterback, he better than what bad quarterbacks were in the 90s and when in the early 2000s.
Yeah, now we got one last guy to talk about. I mean, if y'all know how we get down, you know how we get down. We're not calling him DB Cooper, Domonique. I saw somebody say this. We insisting he's CB Cooper, right? I see that people still talk about Cooper DeJean going in the first round, but I'm also seeing that the argument that they try to make is that he doesn't have loose enough hips in order to play corner. And I'm going to be honest with you, Domonique, that sound a lot like a black man who just lost his woman to a white man and being like, yeah, but can he do it like this? Can he work them hips, girl? Can he move like you need him to move?
The answer is yes.
Out here assuming.
I mean, I've seen Cooper. I don't know what y'all talking about, man. Anybody saying that foolishness is just foolishness. Now, can he play other positions? Yes. And if I had a defense and Cooper DeJean was on it, I would find ways to move him around and have him have impact. But I'm starting that man at corner. You're going to have to prove to me that speed, we seen him return punch. Y'all better stop it. That speed and that athleticism, while also having a 200-pound, almost like 190, 200-pound frame, you can't get pushed off. Like, yeah, y'all better stop it. Let that man try. Let that man be great. Don't stand in the way. Let him be great. Let him open the doors. He is going to be a inspiration to kids all around the world.
We need to take our list of people who's standing on the right side on this one. You know what I'm saying? I seen the homie Mel. Mel seemed to be on team CB. Yep, he seems to be going there. Everybody else, they just can't. They can't bring themselves to the place.
It's sad. I didn't see his 3-cone. I didn't watch none of his drills at his pro day because I don't care, because I watched him play. But my guess is his athletic skills probably match up perfectly with lots of really good corners in football. Like, I'd be surprised if there was some like athletic test outlier, like his broad jump is weak or something, or his vert is weak, or like, I know his speed is up there. I don't know the argument against it. Like, you got great ball skills. There's no reason why he can't play cornerback.
I'm gonna tell you this too. If he go in the first round, Kirk Ferentz might just go ahead and retire. His work here is done. He's pulled it off. Like, he got the one, was it Riley Moss? I don't know how he played, but he got him in there last year. But if he get a white dude to go in first round as a corner, his mission is complete. And he did the whole thing, right? Like, this is the same as Eddie Robinson getting Doug Williams in the first round. There was nothing left to do after that, baby.
I think you're right. When he goes on recruiting visits from here on out, and there are white kids across the Midwest, like, so what you gonna give me for NIL? NIL? Let me show you a little tape. This is just going to be Cooper getting
kids
drafted.
that's out here that's been wanting to play corner, and they just salty because they always getting pushed out.
Yeah, they always getting slid to slot receiver or tell them to play safety. They are going to look up to Kirk and Coop and think that there is a chance, and I think that's good.
Hey, I ain't going to lie. That would make me want to take my black ass to Iowa myself personally, right? Like, if they brothers got to be out here, look, man, I seen what you did with that. Y'all can turn me into Deion Sanders. I'm not saying they being fair, but I'm saying somebody got to be having that thought process. Like, sometimes you got to go into the belly of the beast to make it happen.
I don't know if I'd be as comfortable with this if it wasn't for the fact that Drake May is falling behind Jaden Daniels. Y'all are welcome. Right. Y'all are welcome now. Come on over.
Like, look, you got to give to get, right? Like, that's just what it takes. We can't be greedy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to make a little room for the new players.
I'm willing to accept that it's ridiculous that white people can't play corner, as long as y'all continue to accept that it was ridiculous when y'all thought black people couldn't play quarterback.
Well, once again, they have come around to the theory. They have come around to the idea of the black man playing quarterback, as long as he never, ever, ever makes a mistake.
Yeah.
If that black man can be excellent for the entirety of his time, then maybe it can work.
I mean,
you slip up just a touch, brother. Just a touch.
That's kind of the way it is. Sad but true. I mean, in football and outside of football. But Patrick Mahomes don't have no black backups.
No, that's real. That's how you know Andy knew that was like, y'all, you ain't even got him.
Yeah. we ain't got to play these games with y'all. We ain't got to play these games with y'all. Watch this. Get your ass out there and throw for 50 touchdowns your first year as a starter. Anybody got any questions? Alex who?
They could make Jackson Mahomes his backup. It ain't going to happen. Like, this is like we're really now in a place where this can super duper ramp up. Because let us keep in mind, Tom Brady's first 4 years as a starter, he won 3 Super Bowls. His next 9 years as a starter, none. Okay? 05 to 13, no Super Bowls. Yes, there's an undefeated season. I think there's like a 14-2 or 15-1 or whatever. I'm not saying he was bad. I'm just saying there was no Super Bowls in that run. I don't think that's going to happen with the Chiefs. I don't think that's about to happen with Mahomes. I mean, granted, hey, who knows? They might go 16-0 and lose in the Super Bowl. It's entirely possible. But Mahomes might start running up the score, man.
9 years in a row? I find it real hard to believe that they not going to find one. 9 years in a row? 9 of them? He going to get 1 or 2. And if he want to play for as long as Tom, it might be a possibility, guys.
Well, this is the difference. And we can make the argument that Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. And that's really a discussion about the cumulative effect of his career, right?
Yeah.
But Tom Brady was not definitively the best football player on the field in every game that he played. He just wasn't that guy, right? I'm not sure the last time Patrick Mahomes was not clearly the best football player on the field on which he stepped. It might have been tricky if that year that they lost to the Bengals, they had gone to the Super Bowl and they had played against Aaron Donald. Maybe.
I mean, I get you. Like, Aaron Donald is a better defensive tackle maybe than Patrick Mahomes is a quarterback, but he's a fucking quarterback, guys.
But that's where we had to go. I had to go for a guy that's the best player on the field in every other game he plays, even against the other quarterbacks, except for Patrick Mahomes.
He's all-time great. Aaron Donald is. Like, he could be the best defensive tackle ever. And we talk about maybe. Yeah. That's a good point about this conversation is the greatness conversation about Tom Brady never, I mean, he won enough. It's fine. It's not an argument that I care to have whether he's the greatest of all time or not. But the point that he was, despite the fact that he won league and MVPs, like, it never really felt like you got one quarterback, you know who you're going to get, Tom Brady.
Right.
At no point was anybody like, hey, we building the team. First quarterback we're going to get, Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes has been that guy since his first year as a starter.
We had arguments for other guys. There was an argument for Peyton Manning. There was an argument for Aaron Rodgers. There was an argument for a brief moment for Cam Newton, right? Like, there have been arguments for all kinds of other guys. There is not going to be not one goddamn argument for a very long time about this dude. Like, that's why when the people tried to pop up Josh Allen, I was like, come on, man, what we doing right now, man? what we doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Josh Allen is like best in the league level quarterback play. However, there's a guy in the league right now who is in the best of all time conversation. It's like the whole thing for all the stars we had in the NBA in the 80s and 90s. So yeah, y'all are all-time greats. Y'all had the misfortune of being there at the same time as this one dude.
Yeah. Like Josh Allen like drinking 151. You better make sure you eat. Like if you eat everything, like when everything's settled, boy, you might have a night. But boy, if you don't eat, that thing gonna burn you up, right? It say it on the label that it can catch on fire. That's what that is. But Holmes is like, we got 151, but we engineered everything bad out of it. There's no hangover that comes with this.
Forget that.
Don't matter.
Don't forget that. It makes you smarter. It makes you have more fun. It makes you slim. It makes you attractive and funny. They got a miracle drug, and his name is Patrick. This should make you cute. It make you strong, and it make you drunk. They will pull you over and give you a ticket for not being on that while you are driving. They have perfected it.
Yes. By the way, right fast before we go, I want to tell the people, I was talking to my mother today, and she asked me if ass and motherfucker have become the official words of the right time with Bomani Jones. And so I realized I got to dial this back a little bit. I'm going to have to let everybody know because honestly, and this is a very sincere and important thing, something I didn't think about when I stopped doing TV 5 days in a row. And I say that like it was my decision, but whatever. When I stopped doing TV 5 days a week, my parents missed the opportunity to see me 5 days a week. And so this podcast is an important chance for my mother to get to see and communicate with her baby boy. And so I got to do better about that because it's important in that sort of way. But she was definitely right. I did realize that we were kind of motherfucking it up on here. Like I need to check my own happiness. Like I felt like I was lashing out. I was acting out.
I respect that. And obviously I will comply. But I believe that even your mother will accept that there has to be some motherfucker privilege when we talk about Patrick Mahomes. That's it. When we talk about Patrick Mahomes, I need to be able to drop an MF every now and then because that's how good he is. That's all.
Yes. Yeah, we got it. She's not unreasonable.
Okay.
We just can't be excessive.
Oh, yeah,
but
we could.
That is Domonique Foxworth. Check him out on the Domonique Foxworth Show, available where all fine podcasts are given away for free. My man, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. Hit the voicemail line, 323-596-7767. Oh, yeah. Tell us about that time that you had to quit playing football. You had to break out the oldie but goodie, 323-596-7767. Sean, you handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. We'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.